Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Learn English Quickly. I'm Emily, and today we're going to do something that you will use all the time. Honestly, it's one of the most important skills in English. It's about talking about yourself. You see, when you meet new people, when you make friends, when you travel, when you join a class, or even when you go for a job, people always want to know about you. They will ask your name, where you're from, maybe your age, maybe your family, what you do, what you like. And if you can answer these questions clearly and simply, you will feel more confident. Right now, maybe you feel shy. Maybe you don't know what to say. But trust me, after listening and practicing with me, you'll see how easy it is. And remember, you don't need big words, just small, clear words. That's enough. So let's start step by step. No rush. The first thing people always ask is your name. This is the door that opens the conversation. The simplest way is to say, "My name is Emily," or just "I'm Emily." Easy, right? You can also say, "My name's Emily, but people call me Emmy." This is useful if you have a short name or a nickname. For example, maybe your name is Michael, but your friends call you Mike, or your name is Elizabeth, but people call you Eliza. These small details make your answer more real, more personal. When I introduce myself, I sometimes say, "My name's Emily, but most of my friends call me Emmy," and that usually makes people smile. Oh, and one more thing. In English-speaking countries, people often use short names quickly. It's not rude, it's just friendly. So, don't be surprised if someone calls you by a shorter name the same day you meet them. After your name, the next very common question is, "Where are you from?" And this one is really simple too. You can say, "I'm from the United States," or "I'm from Brazil," or "I'm from England." You can also add a city. "I'm from Los Angeles." It's in the United States. That way, if people don't know your city, they still understand your country. For me, I usually say, "I'm from New York. It's a big city in the United States." Sometimes people ask more like, "Oh, really? What's it like there?" And then you can add a little more detail if you want, like, "It's hot but very lively," or "It's small but very peaceful." Another useful pattern is, "I was born in one place, but I live in another place." For example, "I was born in Chicago, but I live in New York now." This gives a little story about your life, and stories always make introductions more interesting. Now, let's talk about age. This can be a little tricky. In some cultures, people ask about age right away. In others, it feels personal. In English, with adults, people don't usually ask age quickly, but it's still good to know how to answer. The basic way is, "I'm 20" or "I'm 25 years old." You don't even need to say years old. Just the number is enough. "I'm 30. I'm 40. Easy. If you don't want to say the exact number, you can say, "I'm in my 20s. That means maybe 21, 22, 23. Or "I'm in my 30s. That means maybe 31, 36, 39. You can also use little phrases like, "I just turned 18. That means you became 18 recently. Or, "I'm almost 30. That means you're maybe 29. Personally, when people ask me, I sometimes say, "I'm in my early 30s. That means maybe 31, 32, or 33. It's soft and polite. So, If someone ever asks you, you'll have the answer ready. Okay, now another question that always comes. Family. People love to ask about family. It's small talk, but it also helps people connect with you. The most common question is, do you have brothers or sisters? The short way to answer is, yes, I have one brother, or yes, I have two sisters, or no, I don't have brothers or sisters. If you don't have any, there's a special phrase, I'm an only child. That means no siblings. For example, I usually say, yeah, I have one younger brother. Just adding the word younger or older makes it more clear. I have an older sister. I have two younger brothers. You can also say how many in total. I have one brother and two sisters, or just, I have 3 sisters. If you want, you can even talk about your position. I'm the oldest, or I'm the youngest, or I'm the middle child. These little details make your answer more natural. Next, let's talk about where you live. Now, sometimes people ask, do you live with your family? And you can answer simply, yes, I live with my parents, or I live with my wife and children, or I live with my brother. And if you don't live with family, you can say, no, I live alone, or I live with friends, or I share a house with classmates. For me, I sometimes say, I live with my family in New York. It's simple and clear. Remember, you don't need long sentences. Just one clear idea is enough. Now let's move to another big question. Jobs and study. People love to ask, what do you do? But be careful in small talk. What do you do doesn't mean, what are you doing right now? It means, what is your job or what is your study? The easy way to answer is, I'm a teacher or I'm a student. For me, I usually say, I'm an English teacher or I teach English on YouTube. And sometimes I add more detail. I'm a teacher. I work in a school. Or I'm a driver. I drive a taxi. Or I'm a cook. I work in a restaurant. Just one small detail makes your answer more personal. If you don't have a job right now, you can say, I'm looking for a job, or I'm between jobs. That's a polite way to explain. And if you're a student, you can say, I'm a student. I study English. Or I study engineering at university. If you finished, you can say, I studied law, or I studied history. Sometimes people do both. You can say, I study business and I work in a shop, or I'm a student, but I also have a part-time job in a cafe. This gives a bigger picture of your life. Now, let's go a little deeper. Personality. This one is fun. Sometimes people ask, what are you like? Careful here. It's not, what do you like? It's, what are you like? That means your personality. You can answer with very simple words. I'm friendly. I'm shy. I'm funny. I'm hardworking. For example, I usually say, I'm friendly and patient. I like listening to people. That's true for me. Sometimes, I also say, I'm curious. I like learning new things. You can use other easy words too, like I'm kind, I'm helpful, I'm positive, I'm relaxed. These small adjectives are powerful. You don't need to use big or difficult words. Just 2 or 3 are enough. In job interviews, people sometimes ask, "How would you describe yourself?" And then you can say, "I'm hardworking, creative, and reliable." That's a strong answer. But in normal small talk, 1 or 2 words are enough. Okay, wow, we've already covered a lot. Name, country, age, family, living, job, study, personality. These are the main things you need to talk about yourself in English. And honestly, once you practice these a few times, you'll feel so much more confident. The key is not to memorize long speeches. The key is short, simple, repeatable patterns. And every time you say them, you'll feel stronger. Remember, practice a little every day. You can even stand in front of a mirror and say, "My name's Emily. I'm from the United States. I'm in my 30s. I have one younger brother. I live in New York. I'm an English teacher. I'm friendly and curious." Look, that's already a full introduction, and it's less than 1 minute. You can do it too. So, now that you know the basics, let's practice more ways to talk about yourself in English. You see, introductions are not only about short answers. Sometimes people ask you to share a little more. And when you add small details, your answer feels warmer and more natural. For example, instead of only saying, "I'm Emily," you can say, "I'm Emily. I teach English and I love books." See how it feels? It's like giving a small picture of who you are. Another example, "I'm Sarah. I'm from Brazil. I study medicine, I'm friendly, and I like dancing." That's already a nice introduction. It's short, but also full of life. So, my friends, don't be afraid to mix small pieces together. One line about your name, one about your country, one about your work or study, and one about your personality. Done. People will know you better. Let's imagine this. You meet someone new. They ask, "What's your name?" You say, "My name's Ali." They ask, "Where are you from?" You answer, "I am from Canada." Then they ask, "What do you do?" And you say, "I'm a student. I study English already." You've shared 3 things. And guess what? That's enough to keep the conversation going. The other person might say, "Oh, wow, I've always wanted to visit Canada," or, "That's cool, I'm studying too." You see, small answers open big doors. Now let's go a little deeper with likes and hobbies. People often ask, "What do you like?" or, "What are your hobbies?" This is a fun part of talking about yourself. The simple way is, "I like reading, I like cooking, I like music." You can also say, "My hobby is playing football," or "My hobby is painting." For me, I usually say, "I like reading books and I love teaching English." Sometimes I also say, "My hobby is writing stories." See? Nothing difficult, just use "I like" or "my hobby is." And if you want to be stronger, you can say, "I really like," or "I love." For example, "I really like traveling," or "I love learning new languages." Adding really or love makes it more emotional, and emotions always make your words sound real. Here's another way. You can talk about what you don't like. For example, "I don't like cold weather," or "I don't like noisy places." It makes your answer more honest and helps people understand you better. I sometimes say, "I don't like crowded buses," or I don't like being late. So mix both likes and dislikes if you want. It feels natural. Now, sometimes people ask about your daily life, like, what do you usually do every day? Or, what's your routine? This is another chance to talk about yourself. And the best way is to use easy present tense. For example, I wake up early. I drink tea. I go to work. I teach students. I come home. I read books. I sleep. That's enough. Or if you're a student, you can say, I wake up at 7. I go to school. I study English. I meet my friends. I play football in the evening. I do my homework. Then I sleep. You see, it's very simple. Just small actions, and it shows people how your life looks. For me, I usually say, I wake up, I make coffee, I plan my lessons, and then I record videos for Learn English Quickly. That's my real daily life. Okay, let's try something new. Describing favorites. People often ask, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? Those are easy questions, and they help people feel connected. You can say, my favorite food is pizza, or I love hamburger, or my favorite color is blue, or I really like green, or my favorite movie is Harry Potter. For me, I usually say, my favorite food is pasta. My favorite color is black. My favorite hobby is reading. And then I sometimes add, I really enjoy walking by the sea. These small favorite things show who you are. People remember them, and you can ask back. For example, if someone asks you, what's your favorite food? And you answer, pizza. Then you can ask, what about you? This makes the conversation two-sided, and that's how real communication works. Another thing that helps when talking about yourself is sharing your dreams. People sometimes ask, what do you want to do in the future? Or, what are your goals? You can answer with, I want to be, or I want to. For example, I want to be a doctor, or I want to travel the world, or I want to improve my English. For me, I usually say, I want to help more people learn English in a fun way. That's my dream. You don't need to make it big or complicated, just honest. Even something like, I want to make new friends, is perfect. And remember, dreams are personal. Whatever you say is right. Let's think about another situation. Sometimes people ask about your country or culture. They say, what's your country like? Or, tell me about your culture. Don't panic. You don't need a long answer. Just 1 or 2 simple lines. My country is hot and cold, or my country is big and beautiful, or my culture is full of music and festivals. For example, when people ask me, I usually say, my country, the United States, is colorful. It has mountains, deserts, and the sea, and the food is amazing. That's already enough. People don't want a long speech. They just want a little picture. And later, maybe they'll ask more. Oh, here's something important. Sometimes people ask about your language. They may say, what languages do you speak? And you can answer simply, I speak English, or I speak Spanish and some French. You can also add a little or a bit if you're not very strong, like, I speak a little English, or I speak some German. This shows honesty, and if you're learning, you can say, I'm learning English now. That's always a good answer because people respect learners. For me, I say, I speak English and I speak Spanish. I'm also learning a little French, and people usually find that interesting. Now let's add something more personal. Feelings. When people ask you about yourself, you can share how you feel about things. For example, I'm happy when I read, or I feel relaxed when I listen to music, or I feel nervous in big groups. These feelings make your introduction more human. For me, I sometimes say, I feel happy when I teach, or I feel peaceful when I walk alone. Sharing feelings makes your answer real. So, my friends, here's a small challenge for you. Try to build your own little story. Use the pieces we practiced: name, country, age, family, job or study, hobbies, favorites, dreams, feelings. You don't need all of them at once. Just choose a few. For example, my name is Allie. I'm from Canada. I'm 20. I'm a student. I like football. My dream is to travel to England. That's it. That's already a full self-introduction. And if you practice this out loud 2 or 3 times, you'll feel more natural. Remember, when you talk about yourself in English, don't worry about mistakes. People care more about connection than perfect grammar. Even if you pause, even if you say or well, it's okay. That's human. I do it too. Everyone does. What matters is that you share yourself with simple words. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. Now, let's take everything one step further. My friends, talking about yourself is not only about simple facts like name, age, or country. It is also about telling small stories from your life. Stories make you interesting, and they help people remember you. Don't worry, your story does not need to be long. Just 2 or 3 sentences are enough. For example, you can say, my name is Sarah. I am from Spain. When I was a child, I used to play guitar every day. Or, I'm Ali. I'm from Canada. Last year, I traveled to the mountains with my friends. These are short stories, but they show more about you than only facts. So when you introduce yourself, sometimes try to add one little story. It makes your English more alive. Let's practice this together. Imagine someone asks you, tell me about yourself. You can say, my name is Anna. I'm from Poland. I study English. I love cooking. Last weekend I made pizza for my family. Do you see? It's simple, but it already feels friendly and real. Another example. I'm David. I'm from France. I'm a teacher. I like movies. Yesterday, I watched a funny film with my brother. These short stories connect you with people, and you don't need to use difficult grammar, just small sentences. Now, let's add something even more fun. Describing your personality. Sometimes people ask, what do you like? Or, how would you describe yourself? These are common questions in school, in jobs, and even when making friends. Easy answers are, I'm friendly, I'm shy, I'm hardworking, I'm funny, I'm kind. You can also say, I'm a little shy, but I like meeting new people, or I'm hardworking and I love learning. For me, I usually say, I'm friendly, I'm curious, and I love books. That is true about me. So think about yourself. Choose 2 or 3 words. Practice saying them. And remember, Personality words are simple. You don't need difficult ones. So, my friends, here is my final advice. Don't only learn these sentences, use them every day. Speak them out loud. Say, my name is, say, I'm from, say, I like, and say, my dream is. Repeat them until they feel natural. The more you repeat, the more your brain accepts them. And one day, you will not even think. The words will just come. That is fluency. And remember, learning English is not about being perfect. It is about connection. When you tell someone your name, when you share your hobby, when you smile, you are already successful. Don't wait. Start today. Speak now.